Good morning, everyone. Today is the day I'm going to start processing my meat bird chickens. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with this video. I need to look up and see what they talk about as far as dispatching the chickens. I'll try to keep it best I can, I just want to say, prior to, that this isn't something that, in my opinion, should be banned, but it should be up to the parents to decide if you want your kids to see. I am going to put an age restriction on there, but it's something that people have forgotten how to do, and it's a humane process. And my meat birds, if you haven't seen my other videos, go watch them. I raise them, I put them out on the grass, I give them exercise, I feed them, I give them an area, and I'm going to show a little bit of that here in a minute. So check out the video and watch it, and I'm going to go from there. Alright, so here's my little setup of how I grow them out, and here's all the meat birds. I got 17 of these chickens, and today's their day that they're gonna pay me back for what I paid them, and give them a good life. If you know how chickens are raised in cages and whatnot, as you can see, they got a pretty good area here. Gave them plenty of water. I did cut them off the feed yesterday. I let them finish it out. You can see that's why they're coming to me. That's just the way it is, and they're looking for food. They're hungry. They're always hungry. So naturally through the process, you want to feed them, throw some scratch, and you want to get them moving and walking, because these birds, they do sit down, and they'll lay down and eat and gorge, and they'll hog food. And by giving them this area and getting them walking around, it gets them muscles working. You can see they're following me. They're like hungry. And I throw the scratch in different areas, so they also pick at the grass and whatnot. But they have their feed under here. It's a real simple contraption. This is an electric poultry fence, or just an electric fence, and I hooked it up to a solar down there. And you can see I put a piece of plywood. I made a A-frame a while back, put some tin on it, and then I put the plywood and I angled it down so water would run off of it. Been having a lot of rain. Put a T-post in with a pallet, set the 3/4 inch plywood right on top of it, and they go under it at night. Believe it or not, they hang out under there. It gives them some protection from the owls or whatever. But you can see they're pretty big, so most owls and predatory birds are not going to be able to get in there. They're not going to chance that getting in there. Not to say 100%. It'd be a really big eagle or something might be able to get them, but we don't have too many of them around. We do have some pretty big owls, but there's plenty of squirrels and rats and whatnot out here in the woods. But that's the setup. And then I got an automatic water down here, so they got plenty of fresh water. I check it, make sure it doesn't get too far out of control, and refresh it for them. And so that's the setup, and we're going to be taking these and getting the rest of the setup going. I still got to go to the store and get some ice and get my slaughter station set up, where we're going to be slaughtering and butchering these chickens and putting some meat in the freezer. You can see they're big. They're big guys. They're probably, and by the way, I was going to raise them to 8 weeks, and I'm going to tell you, if you're raising meat birds, just always count that you're probably going to go over or maybe under. It's up to you. I mean, if you're raising them and they're healthy, like you see these, they're not having any breast split problems or walking around, and that's all how you feed them. But these are, right now, we're at about 10.5 weeks, so I went a little bit past my time. I just got busy, and for some reason I was thinking I had a couple more weeks. I looked at my calendar the other day, and I'm like, oh man, I got to get going on these. So yeah, so they're out here, and I cut them off the feed. Is it necessary? No, it just makes a cleaner ordeal overall when you go to clean them. Now, when I go to clean these, I'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm not doing the whole scolding method and all that. I brush them out. I take the thighs and the legs, and I pretty much, all the entrails and stuff, that helps me to bypass that. It's just me. I do scold sometimes, some of them do whole chickens, but now it's just me and my wife living here, so we eat it in pieces rather than, unless I have a big barbecue or something, then I'll do a whole chicken at once, which is nice on my smoker over there in the corner. I got other videos about that. But hey, that's the way I do it. Makes it easy on me, easier to handle all the entrails and whatnot. So that's what we'll be doing. But here's the meaties and the meat birds, and it's morning and getting ready to get them going. All right, so part of the setup that I do is I get all the ice, you know, and so I like coming to these places like this because you get bulk ice, 16 pounds for $2.50, and you get like 5 pounds for like 3 something at Circle K or whatever. So I'm sure a lot of y'all seen them, you know, this is what I recommend. But what's also nice is that people put these bags over here, and I grab these bags plus the ones that I have, and I get like 4 bags of ice, you know, 4 bags, 16 pounds. But I also grab a few of these extra bags, throw them in the truck, because one thing when you're doing the chickens, you want places to put things, and guess what, you know, if you buy garbage bags, that counts as expense. Utilize all these things. You see, it helps clean them up. You know, people leave tons of them here, and you can use them for all different purposes, kind of like grocery bags. So you want to reduce the cost of making the meat for your meat birds as much as possible. So I highly recommend doing this. It cuts down on the price. So I got my 4 bags of ice loaded up, and I'm heading back to the house to finish the setup, you know. So I figured, you know, take a little bit of this time. It's about 3-4 minutes away from the house. Talk about some of the things, you know, that go on when you're dealing with these meat birds. Now understand, like, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I'm sure many of y'all heard that growing up. If you're like me, I did, I know for sure. But the thing is does the cat get skinned? Now in this case, we're not skinning cats by no means. We're skinning chickens. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna cut the meat out of the bird. I'm not going to get into all the entrails and all that. I do know how to do that. Like I said, me and my wife, we like it in portions, you know, just like you buy it in a store. So I clean it right off the bird like that. A lot of people like the skin. I like it too when you get a good barbecue and stuff. But if I want to do that, I'll go to our local produce down the road here. They got skin on chicken, and it's at a good price, and you know, you can get the free range, whatever, or you can just get the regular old stuff. If I want the skin, I'll do that. But for first, what I do, I just skin and meat out the birds without the skin. All right, so just so you understand, when we get clean, that's how I'm gonna do. And then I'll quarter this thing out, get the breast off, get the wings off, get the drums and thighs. Not really big back, eating the backs, you know, but if you like it into crabbing and stuff, you can definitely keep all that stuff. You can keep the entrail, all that, and throw that stuff in a crab trap, and you can get you some blue crabs like you wouldn't believe. You know, I don't have a boat anymore. I did. I'm planning on getting another one. When I do, I'll start doing that. So pretty much all the excess and stuff that I have, I'll either bury it, or I'll take it out in the woods and bury it, or you know, even throw it in some of the bags like I mentioned, and throw some in the trash or whatever. You know, just be ready for it. You know, things that you got to account for. All right, so we're heading back to the house now, and I should be here in a little bit, and then we'll do a little bit more on getting ready to start the process. Okay, but the biggest thing that I'd like to mention is like, you want to do it and be comfortable. It's about 9 o'clock. I'd like to get started by 10. You know, sometimes I like to get started at daylight just because it's cooler out, but it is what it is. I got a little bit late start today. That just happens. But things to consider, you know, is keeping the area clean, keeping it organized. You know, you want the process to go smooth, and you want the chickens to be comfortable. But anyway, don't forget about yourself. You know, get you a towel if it's going to be hot, or get warm clothes if it's going to be cold. Out here in Florida where I'm at, and where I live, mosquitoes are real bad. I sprayed the whole area down the other day with some mosquito stuff, and that's going to help keep the mosquitoes down. I'm also going to spray my legs and my arms, so you know, that way I'm just comfortable. I'm not sitting there swatting mosquitoes as much, or you know, just being uncomfortable, because it gets you in a frustrate. You want to keep a cool composure all along, and you just want to kind of just flow through the system. It makes it better on the birds, it makes it better on you, and you know, you'll get through it. Especially if you're new at this, just, you know, being comfortable matters. You know, I hunt a lot, and I tell people all the time, you know, one of the key factors that people forget about is being comfortable. If you can make yourself comfortable, your chances go up tremendously. If you're not over there swatting flies and all that, it's worth the extra effort to put permethrin on your clothes, whatever. But I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. You can follow that in my hunting videos. But like I said, keep in mind, again, I'm just going to warn through that, you know, I'm going to show what I can and what's allowed as this process. But, you know, if you find it disturbing, well, you might not want to watch all the way through the video or fast forward or skip. But the purpose of this is just to get back to some of our roots and start remembering that, you know, our food comes from somewhere. If you eat meat, it comes from somewhere. And if you go look at them somewheres, a lot of times them somewheres are not very nice places. So why do I do this? Well, I do it for one, to keep up those values and traditions. For two, it keeps up my mental alertness. And three, I believe that I give a good place, more humane place to these chickens. I feed them, I water them, I put them on grass, I let them wander around, and then you know, that gives them a better life. And then I feel like that might transfer into me. Call it crazy, but it is what it is. So I'm at the house now, and then I'll get back in a little bit. Hope you're enjoying the video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll move along through this process, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. And then maybe you can give me something out of it by commenting or giving me suggestions, recommendations. Hey, I opened them all. I've been doing this for a while, but that's one thing I will not ever say is like I know all 1,000 ways to skin that chicken. So stay tuned, stay with me, and we'll get back going at this. Right, so here we are, we're at the setup, and before I left, I kind of washed everything, sanitized everything. You know, I have my neighbors over here, they got little kids, so I like to pick a location. It's shady, I got the trees here, I put my truck up, kind of block off. They know what I do and all, and they don't care, but I just out of respect, you know, in case your kids come out, whatever, you know, that's on them if they want to bring them over. They know that I raise these birds, and we eat them, and they see them right next to them, so they're going to see them disappear today. Most of them, I might not get to all of them, but so the general setup that I have over here is you know, I got a chair because it comes from a couple towels for sweat. I got my kill cone, and this thing pops off so you can wash it and clean it, and you put it right back on this post here. You go 4x4 post. I got a piece of tin, that's an old sign that I put on there, and a table. And then so over here we got buckets. I always use 3 of these buckets, and I get these buckets from the pool store, but I do pools myself, so now I get them from myself. But I'm gonna tell you, I know like them, they would give these buckets away because they just throw them out, and they did have a time where they were reusing them, so we couldn't do that. But I'm thinking that was during COVID, but I think we're back now to where these things pile up, and they wouldn't mind coming away with them. They're good buckets, got good secure lids, you can secure them. I use one for the drain on my table here, and then one that's going to go up underneath the kill cone to catch the blood and whatnot. I just don't want it on the ground and all that, and we'll take care of that with all the intros. And then I got the garbage can and a water hose. Make sure you have access to a water hose. I use a lot of water, I rinse as I go along. And then so some other things we have is a good pair of gloves that I use when I'm cutting, so I don't cut myself. Got some, definitely recommend these, some poultry shears. They're all kind. You can go high dollar, low dollar. I think these were like 20 bucks. A serrated fillet knife, regular fillet knife, a meat cleaver, and then this kit that I use, I also use this for hunting. It has a sharpening kit here because you want to keep sharpening it. Now some people, they buy scalpels. I tried it and I'm like, I don't need to do that. I can just use one of my fillet knives or one of my other knives, keep them sharp to dispatch the animals. But some people like to use scalpels, and so it's up to you. You know, all these things, 1,000 ways, but this is my way. And I went back to knives because I can reuse them, and I didn't have to, like I was saying at the ice machine, you know, try to conserve on price by all the different things that you have to buy or have. And I got this table, I think I got it online, but it's like a fillet station. It comes with a little spigot and everything that goes here, but I just took all that off. I do keep the drain because I like to collect the blood and whatnot that runs down in there so it don't get all over the ground, create ants and whatnot. So, but I take out the little spigot, but and I got the bucket underneath, and then I got this rated little ramp thing that I have just because it starts getting a little wet over here. It just kind of keeps my feet out of the muck and mud. Like I said earlier, I poured some bleach, just some household bleach in there with some Dawn. I scrubbed it out real good. I left it in there when I went to the ice machine. I'm going to dump this out, rinse it out, and then I'll put the ice in there. And over here is where I'm just going to dump all my parts I don't want into the old little plastic garbage can, and then we'll take care of that when the time comes. Bury it, burn it, put it in the trash, whatever we do with it. Whatever I feel like doing off of time. So keep important thing is just keeping track of the time and what you got and what you're trying to accomplish, and don't overwhelm yourself. Hey, if you can't get all of them done, well, just go back to it again the next day or whatever. You know, you can usually run your ice for a couple days before you have to maybe get a couple bags more or whatever. But I got 17 today. I doubt I'll get to all of them. So, but that's my general setup. And then, like I said, I'm going to get it finished set up, and then I'll come back to you. So heading over now, back over to the chickens. I got the setup done over there, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate the chickens down to one end of the penned area that I have. So I'm going to turn off the electric gate here, and I'm going to take the poultry netting that you saw previously, and I'm going to reduce that size down. That'll help me to be able to gather the chickens. All right, so something that I do in this is like I said earlier, you never know what you're going to run out of time. Something's going to come up or whatever. It might get hot, or you just might get tired or whatever. Just keep that in mind when you're doing these. So what I like to do is when I select my chickens, I start with the biggest ones. That way, especially with these broilers, because they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so that way it'll keep it. I'll be feeding out the other ones if I don't get to them, say for another week or 2 weeks or whatever. They have a better survivability rate with the lighter ones, and it's usually typically the hens that I'll keep because they have a little bit better mobility than the roosters. So that's how I select them. But right now, like I said, I'm going to take this and reduce this fence down, and from there I'll do another little video. As you can see in the background, I'm going to reduce the size and where the chickens are so I can get to them easier. So watch for that. All right, so I reduced the area for the chickens down to this small area here. Now keep in mind, I took them off their feet all night, so every time they see me and walk around, they come up to me. So that'll make it easier, but as time goes on, some of them will start to get shy of that, because I guess they figure it out, I don't know. But you can see these two big guys right here. They came right up. I'll be able to go in and just simply touch them and grab them. All right, and so that's another good reason to take them off feed, because they are food aggressive, and that'll help you to gather the chickens, because they'll be looking and searching out and seeking out for food. Because you can see over there, one's still trying to get the crumbs out of the feeder. There's a little bit in there, but not much. But anyway, so that's how I do that, getting the meat birds ready to slaughter. Alright, so I'm getting down towards the end. I got 4 left. Not too bad. I started around 10 o'clock and it's 2:39 now. Had 17 total, so I got 13 done, and that's what's remaining. But I wanted to show what I do to kind of box them in, because I had a thing earlier when I started getting down, they started realizing like I'm coming for them, that they would start running through the fence, because I'd leave the fence on when I went or off when I went in there. So once they realized that it wasn't hot no more, they run right through it. So I did this little contraption. It's been working well, because they like to get in there in the shade, and that's just kind of where they are. So I can walk in there and kind of trap them and take them and pull them out. So I got my A-frame, I turned it on the side, and the pallet with the T-post ran through the pallet that I used to put the plywood on. Then I just rolled the plywood down, and that way I kind of box them in there in a solid area. Now they can jump through this pallet over here, so next time I'll probably use a different pallet or whatever, or block that off. But it's been working well. They can't run fast, and they're not going anywhere. They get out here in the yard, and I just go grab them, and then that's the one that I take. But yeah, everything's going good, and almost done. And hopefully I get these done in about another hour and a half, and then we'll have the rest of the meat and everything to show, and it's going good. Like while I'm on here, I do want to mention about something that a couple things that I didn't think about earlier is that hens are a little bit different when you go put them down. They're actually kind of a little bit tougher to, they take longer to dispatch. Okay, so I don't want people to think, well, I'm gonna do the hen because and it'll be easier. I recommend if it's your first time dispatching the chicken that you select a rooster, a good rooster, put them in there. To me, tell me in the comments if you think I'm wrong, but I believe that the roosters are easier to put down than the hens, in my opinion. Just because the hens, they make a different noise, it takes them longer, they flail around a little bit more, they're more vigorous, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's because the roosters get so big, and they're worn out. I don't know exactly why, but that's what I think personally. So here's a recap of a more complete setup. Got the killing cone with the bucket underneath to catch the blood. I got a freshwater dipping bucket that what I'll do is once they're done bleeding out, I'll take it and dip it in there, and I'll probably do 2 at a time. So I'll take this one, once it's done, put it in there to gradually slow the temperature of the meat bird down, and then I'll put the next one in here, and then I'll take that one out, take it over to the table, start the cleaning process while the other one soaks in the cold water. And it just kind of helps. See, there's all kinds of different ways to do this, but that's just how I like to do it. And then once I get the meat cleaned out, I'll have some that I put in the pot, some in the ice, but I put 2 bags of ice in there, and I kept 2 bags in the bag. It's just nice to be able to move the ice around. Eventually I'm going to cold water bath most of this stuff in some ice, cold water and salt, and that's what I do. Again, some people prefer that and some people don't. But that's the general setup. And then I have the scrap bucket here, and that's where all the parts and the entrails and all that is going to go straight into that bucket. All the heads and stuff will be over here in this bucket with the blood as we go along. And hopefully the process runs smooth. Just keep in mind, like I said, give yourself plenty of time, be patient. You get worn out, you get a little tired, take a break, get your chair ready, get a towel ready, keep your face wiped. Things that people haven't really seen put in videos that's important, especially when you're new to this. I already bug juiced up. I put plenty of bug spray on. You can see I live out here in the woods, and got the creek, and the mosquitoes and stuff been bad, but I'm good. I sprayed this whole area over here the other day with some of that cutter lawn stuff, and seemed to knock the mosquitoes down, when I was getting ready to do this. And so just, you want to be comfortable, you want the birds to be comfortable, and you want to make it a quick process, okay? And nice and calm and peaceful process. Have water on standby for yourself. Have the water to rinse the birds. You're going to use plenty of water, and it just helps keep your stuff organized and all in one area. You know where it's at. You can see how I got all my knives and all that here, and I even got my little sharpener ready to go. I try to keep that blade sharp for the bird's sake, and keep everything in there when you know where it's at. And sometimes I don't even use all these knives. I mainly use my 3 orange ones. That's what I clean my deer with and fish. It's got a skinner, all kinds of just have things ready though. And as you go along, be thinking of things that you can make the process easier. But most important though, like I said, to me, is just making sure you're comfortable too when you're doing this, and it helps a lot. Okay, so all right, without any more hesitation, I'm going to go and start selecting a couple birds, and I'm going to bring them over, and we're going to start this process.